Hello and welcome everybody, I am your humble host Gavin the Kitty, and I am back from New York with MegaManX 7 this time around. How is everybody in chat doing? Let me take a quick glance here. Hello Skylar, hello Karmic, hello Demon Dog, and hello... welcome to the Superstar Daycare. Beanbags, yes, absolutely. How you doing? How's everybody doing? So, I'm doing quite alright. But since we're playing X7, I guess I can't be that well. You went to New York? Yes, I went to New York. Miss Artie got married, and I was there for the wedding. Me and Karmic went up together. We had a lovely time at the wedding. We got some beautiful photos. And then after the wedding, we went and stayed an extra night at a friend's place. So... I have a lot of shoutouts to give. Shoutouts to Artie's parents and both her brothers, because they were super chill, very nice. I got stabbed with a spoon. I thought it was going to be more of a spectacle, I suppose, but hey, whatever. And also, shout out to my friend who let us stay with them, the lovely Coyote. Yodi. It's a little bit confusing. I did get a lovely photo of all three of us. This is probably my favorite photo from the entire time. Aside from a few other ones, but, like, this is just very nice. I had a wonderful time while I was out. So, Lake of Great Escape. No, I didn't go there. Spoon. Lovely. Yes, no, I was not there for... I did not go to have, like, a whole bunch of parties and fun. I went for the wedding, first and foremost, and I had my fun afterwards. And a little beforehand, but I had a great time. MegaManX 7. Chris Kringle says, look nice. Yeah, it was absolutely lovely. I really want to go do it again because, oh gosh, just go up there for, like, a week's time and just spend the evening. So much fun. So we're going to hit continue here. So normally I would hit game start, right? Every other X game in this series hasn't had a New Game Plus. This is the first one to have a New Game Plus. What New Game Plus is going to do is it's going to keep our stats, so our power, speed, and special that we've upgraded throughout the game, get rid of the armors for X, and remove all the special weapons. So it'll be like starting a new file, but fully maxed out, which is nice because this game has some problems that we'll get into in a bit as the opening cutscene plays. But how's everybody in chat doing? Everybody doing good? Hope so.
This is it. Ready to rock?
I'm always ready.
Besides Luna's antics, we're actually getting ready for the rise of our channel. Ooh, fun! Well, congrats on that. So,
I guess you've heard of Red Alert.
the hired hit, wannabe Maverick Hunter, Axel here. He is our main character for this story this time around. Usually it's X and Zero, but this time the story revolves around getting this new character all set up. Which is a shame, because I think they really did fumble the landing here, but not bad enough for me to hate Axel. I actually really like Axel, especially in X Command Mission and X8. He's pretty good in X Dive too, so like, and in ZX Advent he's pretty awesome. But Beanbag, sad face. Oh no, beanbags are good. So it is just me for today. Casey will be showing up later this evening if I'm still going. She had to work till 4, so I put this off for as long as I could, and now it is now 3:57, and I believe she's off soon. So.
You were the traitor.
No.
Axel's a prototype new generation Reploid, so he can transform into other Reploid bodies as long as they are the same height as Axel. It comes into some problems later on, but I'm sure it'll be fun. I'm amazed everybody showed up for for me coming back to X7 and the minute I showed a Furry, everybody dropped off. Oh.
Thanks to the Reploids, even the most devastated regions were set back on the road.
So yes, it's gonna be just talking here about how the world is basically under reconstruction. And since reconstruction is happening and the human population has dwindled down so much, Mavericks and Reploids are needed all over the place to basically speed things up. X, because of the loss of Zero, getting Zero back, and then nearly dying himself at the end of X5 and 6, has decided he doesn't want to fight anymore. He straight up does not want to partake in any more war, which I can't blame him. We've been on 7 games, we're nearing the end of 21XX, and he's been fighting for nearly a century. Like, yeah, I get it. X does not want to fight anymore. He thinks if he lays down his guns first, the Mavericks will lay down their guns, and then they'll all talk it out. Kind of like surrender to the Mavericks and talk peacefully. But me and pretty much most of the chat know that's not how it works. That's not how war works. And X is playing a hopeful dream that's not going to happen.
And thus, a new battle began.
Beanbags at the daycare. Yeah, I don't have any beanbags in my place because I get stuck in beanbags. For some reason, I sink into most beanbags unless they're real firm, and I just cannot get out of them unless they are firm beanbags. So here's Axel. His first gameplay is, so he has one shot. If you heard anything about Axel, you might have heard he has a rapid shot. That's technically true. You have to mash the button, but it'll come out as fast as you can mash it. And then, if you hold down the triangle button, you have a charge shot. This is the copy shot. If you defeat an enemy with the copy shot, you will turn into that Reploid. If you hit the R3, you'll get navigation instructions. Axel also has X's hover from the X4 and 5 and 6. However, this hover lasts quite a bit longer and is way more useful, and all you gotta do is hold down the button. He also has a dash and an air dash. All of it's super useful, but I should probably get into what in the heck's going on here. Axel is running away from Red Alert. He doesn't want to fight on Red Alert's team. He wants to be a Maverick Hunter. It's what he's wanted this whole time, and when people stop listening to Red, Axel decides, nah, I can make it. So here is how you transform. And for each of these, it'll start depleting your weapon energy. Don't worry, you'll get it back immediately after you finish the Reploid. But each of the Reploids have their own mobility. So like this one allows us to skate and throws a mini bomb. When the timer runs out, we go back to Axel, and it is an instantaneous swap. That's gonna run us into some problems later on down the line. So far, so good, though. It is the first X game in full 3D, though, and honestly, it's a little wild how this works. So this came out after Mega Man Legends, but I should probably note that this isn't made by the Legends team. It was made by the team that made Resident Evil 2. And if you know anything about Resident Evil 2, it had a very troubled development, and in fact, that team essentially had to restart the game so many times that all of the lessons they should have learned about making a 3D game, they just didn't learn it because they had to restart the game so many times. So this was like their second shot. Make it or break it. And with the way Mega Man games are developed, you essentially start at the intro stage, make your 8 stages in any order you want, and then finish off the final levels to get a smoother difficulty curve. Which is basically, because they had a blueprint for all this stuff. Basically, all of the X games are all made on a blueprint. You know, intro stage, 8 stages, final levels. And you can mix up the formula a little bit, absolutely. But to keep smooth development times and everything, they kind of just kept with the same formula for a while. So X7 had that same formula, and they were mandated by Sony because Sony wanted the PlayStation 2 to only have 3D games. They had to make it 3D, but they wanted to make a 2D game. So how do you get around that? Well, have 3D sections in your 2D game. Well, 3D and 2D movement are very different. So if you're playing the US release of this, the physics might feel a lot slower than the Japanese ones. Like, the walking speed here is just way too slow. The dashing speed's alright, but everything else is bad. Essentially, they got complaints from Japanese players that the game was too fast. It was causing motion sickness. So for the US release, they slowed it down. And that came with a whole bunch of other little changes, too. But since this game's not super well documented, I straight up cannot find a full list of them all. Or else I would give information on all of that jazz. So, in preparation, I made sure to do a practice run real quick. We're using the Legacy Collection version, which is the only version of this game you should play. Your save files are backwards compatible with the Japanese variant. So if you want to do that, you can. Rookie Hunter mode changes some of the damage values to better suit the gameplay and make things flow a little smoother. Overall, and plus, the high-res textures on this game, for as good as this game looks, you can tell, like, there are two different art styles going on. There's one for the Mavericks and the bosses, and then another for the enemies and the the enemies and the stages. So they went with this really wild cel-shaded style for the character models, and then this really realistic version for the stages. And I get it, like, yeah, Mega Man is often the least detailed thing in the games, but the clashing art styles doesn't help. It makes it feel like X-Zero and Axel are all part of an earlier build of the game when they're not. Speaking of early builds, phases into entrance, says Casey. Oh. Well, I mean, if you're coming home, make sure, if you're coming in, just, let me know. I'm in the Discord, so that way then you can join the voice chat and co-commentate, bud. Fairly Fox. So, Fairly the Fox says, hey everyone, it's a beautiful day. It is a fairly alright day. It's a little cloudy here. So speaking of early development, you might notice that X is not playable in this intro stage. In early development shots of this game, we actually saw that X was playable in the intro stage. However, that was changed for later on in development, and we're not sure why. I think it was just to put prominence on Axel, but it really does make Axel feel like Diet Mega Man X, which is a shame because he really is something else. Voice acting here is not great, but the voice director is to blame for that, because these guys all do voice act. In fact, you can hear a lot of these voices show up again in a more recent title, such as Super Bomberman R2 and its prequel, Super Bomberman R. So you can check out those guys and see how the voice acting is, and see if they've progressed any. But basically, the director for the English voice was the same as the Japanese voices. And what that changes is how people deliver their lines. So, Zero's okay. Zero sounds fine. X does not. Axel does in some moments. But Bosses definitely got the short end of the stick. Especially stuff like Sigma. Red's probably my favorite voice in the game, next to Zero, and then Axel. So, that should say a lot. When I say Axel doesn't fit and it's my third favorite in the game, voice acting really was not good. They were still working with mostly the same budget that they had from X5 and X6, so you can't blame them too much for the game being a little dicey.
I want a full explanation when this is all over.
Some of the cutscenes in this game would be a lot better if they animated. But now we got to the first part of the new mechanics of this game. So we've got Zero here. Of course, we've played as Zero before. But if you hit L2, you swap into Axel, and they both have their own health bars, which is fantastic. Honestly, this is one of those PS2 games where I've 100%ed this game way more times than is probably recommended. You can see some enemies have shields for certain parts of their attacks. And the lock-on functionality is something else. You hit R2 and you will swap what you're locked onto. So essentially you don't have to worry about this. The lock-on feature is only ever seen again in X-Dive, and it's as an option. It's turned on by default for X-Dive, but you can turn it off because that game is all 2D. The lock-on was just to help people who were playing with touch controls. So, that is something that's really good. We saw the duck, but only sometimes. Only in 2D stages. Not a good direction for the character, in my honest opinion, Casey. Hello, Sylveon! But Axel's under arrest.
I'm not gonna run off. So could you
Oh,
just
boy.
get off?
I suppose I should talk about New York a little bit more, too. I had a lot of fun. We watched the movie Hereditary. It is a horror movie. I am very glad I had two strong men between me, around me, so that way then I wasn't scared out of my wits. I like being scared, I like horror movies, but I get scared like a child, and it's, it's a good time all around. Honestly, though, I had a lot of fun in New York. I didn't want to leave. I wanted to stick around for a week, but... yeah, I should probably also mention that on the way back, I have bad news for anybody who's in Denver, who is going to Denver this year. I will not be able to go. My fellow co-host and suit maker Argent isn't able to go anymore, and he is trying to move up north. So I decided it's not worth going if I can't go with my friend. Let's cancel it for now. So the next con for my year is MFF in Chicago.
I left Red Alert. Believe it or not, I'm a hunter.
Good joke, Case.
Alert. You mean that gang of wannabe vigilantes?
Do you realize how much
So here is the so the voice direction has a major problem with it. A lot of people do not like X's voice acting, voice direction, and I can't blame them. I also think going with this design for X was a little poor, because it doesn't... none of the poses for the characters are strong enough to feel like the poses that they got in the classic games. So, usually we have X, one arm at the ready, another arm down at the side of the hip, and then both feet outward stretched a little bit, so that way then you have a nice rounded pose. It looks like he's ready for combat. Here, he just kind of stands, and that comes with the territory of having swapped between 2D and 3D and not knowing what made a 3D game good. Just, the standing poses just don't fit well.
I know what you mean, X. But we can't talk them out of this.
We're definitely gonna see a lot better, a lot cleaner of a showcase in X8. Honestly though, the game's not too bad. So X is like, you gotta pay for your crimes. Zero's like, I don't care either way. I'll do whatever it takes. And everybody else is just like, you're kind of a baby for doing this. If you just go back, we'd be fine. And then Red here, who is one of my favorite designed Reploids, is like, oh, we're gonna challenge you. If you can beat R8 Red Alert Hunters, we'll let you keep Axel. Hello, Timber. Casey's on her way home. Sylveon says, "What? Imagine if X had more yas in him." I'm assuming more flamboyancy. I think X8's the perfect voice for him. But Axel left because Red is listening to somebody who we will later find out is called the Professor. And we'll get into that little plot twist later. But for now, Red's our big bad.
We could care less about deadbeats like you. We just
So, one of the big things that should have been done was at this point, X should have been unlocked. X should have realized that he took the bad stance and should have continued fighting for a better future, a better tomorrow, instead of trying to talk it out peacefully with madmen.
Sorry. This is all my fault.
Well, this
However, he continues to do his thing.
You said I need to pay my dues, right? So make me a maverick hunter.
Axel has a grand idea. I'll be a maverick hunter. I'll pay for my dues by being a cop.
Are you
Oh boy.
no business as a hunter?
That is the dumbest thing ever, but it's kind of a great idea. It's a good plot point for like a movie or something.
If you had just gone back, the problem would have been solved.
Cygnus says this, and it shuts Axel up real good. These cutscenes are cute. I like them at least. Not a lot of motion. Should have been fully rendered 3D animation, but I think we get plenty of that with Command Mission, which we'll be playing later this year, but I'm going to be skipping over it for now because it's just that long of a game, and I'm sure everybody wants me to get to Legends.
Want to be a maverick hunter.
I know a few people who are waiting for me to get to the Zero games, Mecha Blaster being one of them.
with this. I'm ready to go.
No, wait.
I'm going by myself. As for you, you can do it.
Oh, Sylveon, that's not till the next game.
Yeah. X, if I catch all the bounty hunters, you've got to promise me you'll let me be a maverick hunter.
So, here's the thing about X7.
Give it to me first.
Between X6 and X7, I actually like X7 more.
Okay, I won't let you down.
Which is odd, because a lot of people like X6 more, even though both games aren't super great.
Another pointless conflict has begun.
X, don't overthink this. This time our only choice is to fight.
We've
Yeah.
made this mistake time and time again. Why must Reploids continue this accursed cycle of aggression?
I should probably check my phone, make sure my ringer's off, because I don't want to deafen everybody. Okay, good. Alright, no idea who that is. Anyways. So, they reused some of the 2D assets from X6. It doesn't look bad on a CRT, but here, whew, when everything's upscaled, they should have definitely gotten redrawn versions of these, because, yikes. All the 2D assets in X7 don't look great. Some of them in X8 don't look good either, but here, I would love a fan patch to patch in all of the stuff. So just like last time, we have the rescue file for each of the stages. So there are Reploids here to get. Some of them will have parts, some of them will have hearts, heart tanks. Here you can save, load, and options. I recommend exploring each of these menus at least once, so that way then you don't have Alia popping in and talking to you every time you go and do it. It'll lessen your frustration, trust me. And we're just going to start up here in the Deep Forest with, so, because of the way I played it, I have Glide Armor X. I'm going to show you guys where all the capsules are and what they do, but for now we won't play as X, because at the start of the game, you'd only have Axel and Zero. So, that's how we're going to play it. Hello, Empathetic Apathy! Is that a Beowulf one? Not a Beowulf per se, but I'm sure we'll get to it, but welcome.
Ready?
I am hoping that we could get some more people in. So starting out here, you could kind of see what I say about the strong poses. They're just not there. Zero's got the strongest pose of all, but, yeah. X is not great. We've got that prompt right there for R3. R3 is the right stick clicking in. And what that'll do is Alia will chime in and give us some helpful tips. Sometimes they're helpful, other times not so much. For me personally, I don't really need the tips, because I've been playing this game since, I think, 2015? give or take. I got this game pretty late into the journey of playing all of these games, believe it or not. But it only makes sense. This game didn't do well. You can find a lot more copies of it now that this version of the Legacy Collection is out, because a lot of people have defaulted to this being the best version of X7 to play. There was also a PC version of this game, but that was only released in, I believe, Korea. Certainly not a great time, but this is essentially a port of that incomplete PC version mixed with the PlayStation 2's finality, so there's more going on here. The music, though, is one of those things I cannot fault anybody for liking. In fact, the team liked it so much, they later reused most of the tracks for MegaManX Command Mission, and even added in more tracks by the same composer, and they all sound beautiful. So here we're going to help Jack. Come down here. We're not doing an all Reploid run like we did with X6. I just don't see the point.
Can you hear me, Axel?
We can turn into the Stone Golem men, and they have their own
Can you hear me, Axel?
ability, specifically one that allows them to walk on spikes. So I'm just gonna do this. Heart pieces do not carry over to all characters. I do wish there was a tweaks patch for this game, because the copy shot should have only taken at most 3 charge shots, and not this ridiculous amount. Just gonna take that. I lose the ability to dash, but that's okay, because I can just kind of walk on stone. This ability also has a wall jump and a boulder throw ability. We're just going to transform back and then immediately swap to Zero, because he's got some more health. Zero, right off the bat, only has like a double slash. Essentially, the upgrades here, we'll go over all of them, but it's one for there's one for movement speed, there's one, so we have power up, power 2, 1/2 damage, and then I believe it's lengthens the amount of attacks. Speed is movement speed up, movement speed 2, attack speed up, and then I believe it's movement speed 3, or combo 3, sorry, combo 1, combo 2, movement speed up, combo 3, and then it's more energy, more, double the time that you have invincible when you get hit, triple the time that you get invincible that you get hit, and we'll find out the last one in just a little bit when we have a bit more, when we get to the menu at the end of the stage. And that'll be the last time we play as Zero, because this really is a ranged man's game. I like the shooty boys, so we'll be playing as the shooting boys. Oh, I also forgot, Axel has a dodge roll. If you double tap the dash button, he does this very slow dodge roll, but it does leave you invincible to all attacks other than spikes. You can even dodge roll right around enemies, which is one of those funnier things to do. Zero also has his double jump still, and an air dash. So, if you're looking for mobility, Zero's definitely got it. However, due to the way he animates, the attacks for in the air don't feel nearly as good to perform as they did in X5 and 6. Or even in X4 for that matter. Not a bad thing, but it certainly counts against something. X7's one of those titles that I know there's not many people out there that will defend this game, so I'm going to be the one to take the stance right now and say, hey, X7's not as bad as everybody thinks it is. It's not great, it's not a perfect game by any means. Just gonna do this. So I believe we need to get at least 4 Reploids with cores. Each stage has 2 Reploids with cores. What those cores will allow us to do is upgrade our character. So make sure to get the Reploids. Once we get that, though, we're not going to be worrying about Reploids too much, other than to upgrade health and stuff. And for me, personally, I just don't see it as a... I don't see it as a big problem. Your attacks cannot hurt Reploids, but the enemy's attacks absolutely can. So, if you see a Reploid, make sure to get... And there is an enemy right behind them, get to them very quickly. I recommend starting this game on a New Game Plus file. It does increase the boss's health, but with all the upgrades, the challenge is definitely a lot easier. And it feels a bit more fair when in comparison to the base game if you just started. Like, my second playthrough was easier than my first. I struggle with the final areas in this game when it comes to the difficulty on the first playthrough. However, difficulty on my second playthrough, the main difficulty came from the enemies in the stages. Like, I was just taking too much chip damage, I just wasn't focusing. And then this third playthrough, I'm actually having a fairly easy-peasy time, even though I am dying quite a bit. How's chat doing? What do you guys think about X7? I'd love to hear you guys' opinion right now, because I don't have much else to say about Soldier Stone Kong, and to be quite frank, I don't have much to say about many of these bosses. Soldier Stone Kong is a fairly easy fight, though, especially if you've got Axel. So, for starters, here is the first capsule. You need X to get these capsules, too. I believe, in theory, that they are an earlier capsule, because Dr. Light doesn't seem to have as a robust AI, and overall, it just feels like perhaps that is an earlier capsule. Here is our life tank for this run. It's actually incredibly important that I pick that up, because I die all the time in this game. Music in this game is great, and with that, we're at the mini-boss for the stage. Let me read the chat real quick. Fleabase has so many upgrades. Empathetic Apathy says, I dislike those rockhead designs immensely, and I'm not sure why. Felipe says, I remember when I was a kid, and every time I bought this game, it was just X8 and it was just X8 on X7's case. I like X8 a lot more, so I think you lucked out if you're playing X8. The mini boss is almost dead. There we go. We finish catching up. And Empathetic Apathy says, saving Kevin is never worth it in any game. Also, hello to whoever joined in voice for a second. Somebody joined and then they left.
The great and wise Stone Kong. How could you, of all people,
You get different interactions depending on if you have different characters.
Already strayed from the path.
Playing as X will actually give you some of the more interesting dialogue.
Stay true to our beliefs wherever.
If you play as Zero here, he actually just wants to fight Zero to see who's the strongest.
Both you and I know they are being manipulated.
Also, all of these Reploids that we are fighting, the Mavericks, are all modified in some way, much like the X1 bosses. They were not originally intended for hunter combat like the way we're seeing here. And that is going to play big time into the story. As you can see, we could destroy his sword. We could also destroy his shield. If he goes into the background, it can be a lot easier to just loop around. If you die with one character, don't worry. When you come back, you don't have to worry about it. There's certainly a lot to focus on in this game, and a lot to talk about. The troubled development didn't help this game by any means. But I do think that this game's got enough good qualities for me to be like, yeah, I can have fun here. Even if I'm getting a little annoyed, I can still have fun. And we're just kind of going to keep shooting him. You might think the copy shot does a little bit more damage. It does. On first fight of any boss, you will be the boss will be level 1. However, because this is my 3rd time through, they are now level 3. The max level is level 4. And as you can see later, as you'll see later, some bosses can even have more than 1 health bar. And they do it up fighting game style, with the health bar being a different color. Certainly, probably to match the Zero games that were coming out at the time. I believe by the time this game came out, Zero was on 02 or 03. Definitely 02 is the better game if you ended up with it, but I can't fault you if you like X7. We are going to be coming to one of the major faults of this game. And for this, I will use Zero. Felipe says, I can see that they weren't made for combat. And Empathetic Apathy says, yeah, I think the models just don't stand out enough from the rest of the motion on screen. I completely agree, and so did the dev team, because in X8, we got whole new models and designs for the characters that stand out a lot more. So, for the Get a Weapon screen, every character has a different weapon. You only get to see which weapon you get if you for the character if you beat the boss with that character. So, while I would love to show off the little shield that X and Axel get, instead we got to show off Zero's. So I believe we saved a majority of the Reploids here. So green is nothing, it just ups your rank. That yellow disc there is the things that we're going after. The heart piece ups your character's health, whichever one got them, and Isaac there was a 1-up. The other ones are weapon up abilities, so that is basically all of them. There's pretty much both of them that we need. And then right after you get done with them, Alia will explain the chip system, which she does every time you get a chip and need to upgrade. X is already maxed out from my playthrough. However, X and Axel's abilities are pretty much the same. We're going to max out Zero, though. With Special, Master Saber increases critical attack power. So essentially, if you're at critical health, he does more damage. And now we're going to up Axel. For this first one here, would you like Power, Speed, or Special, chat? This is what I get to offer for you today. Power, Speed, or Special. For power, we have the extends the range of the normal attack. Hover plus for speed, increases the hovering distance and speed. And special is the rolling attack, body slam attack possible while rolling. Speed, power. Felipe said power first, so we're going to go with that, but speed will be our next one. Of course, if we play it properly, we'll have both of them by the next stage. And this is why I played this game the way I did. So I really can't wait to show all of this off. It's rather interesting. So the X capsule there that we saw is actually a capsule that allows for the glide boots. The glide boots are a little cheap. I remember Pro Jared making a rather rude joke about it a couple of years back when he did a video on X7. But yeah, it does look really bad. They should have just used Axel's animation for the glide. But hey, what can you do? Live and learn, right? The menus are rather cumbersome. Luckily, once we finish upgrading Axel, we won't have to worry about them too much. Every stage you beat will have a cutscene in between, and I will do my best not to skip them. Felipe is at top, middle, bottom. Top, bottom, or middle. Exactly.
Shot. I can only copy the form of Reploids my own size.
If you hit an enemy with a copy shot, they will hover around, specifically with the bees, they'll hover around you for a short moment. I think this is my favorite model of Zero that they have, just the expression and the angle here. It just makes me chuckle a little bit.
How could you not know?
don't remember. Red found me, and I've been defeating enemies ever since.
Yeah. So Red's like a father figure to Axel. All good dads should be dads. That's a really dumb saying, but it's true. If you noticed on the file screen, we can actually see where in the stage that Reploid was. It was in between Eddie and Huey. So all of the Reploids are listed as the start of the stage to the end of the stage. So anything we miss will be shown here. I will let you guys choose the next stage after Ride Borsky. So going in here, we're going to go in with Axel and X. Specifically unarmored X. Heart pieces that you find in the stage go to only the specific character that collected them. That is something that is changed for X8. For X8, instead of doing a New Game Plus run, we will be doing a full fresh file. So the way this stage is going to be set up is that we have 3 minutes to get through this track as fast as possible while collecting the time bombs. There are Reploids on the stage, and using Square does this. Some people play this stage like this. In my honest opinion, if you play it like this, you are being safe and slow, and you can totally use a speed up. We got a Dolph there. Some of the Reploids' names are based on other Capcom titles. I don't think Dolph is one of them. But we just gotta get all the time bombs within the time limit. You'll notice that the text down there on the bottom, in later games, you'll come to find that the some of these some of the counters don't show up properly. Like, we will see them in Vanishing Gungaroo, they just won't show up, and you'll just end up fighting bosses. I know a few people that tripped up, and they ended up not finishing the game because they didn't understand Vanishing Gungaroo's whole gimmick was fighting in ride armors and having to defeat hordes of enemies. But luckily, I know this game pretty well. Well enough to finish this game. So, I mean, like, that should say something. That I'm well enough at this game that I remember where the heart pieces are and everything. For this little section here, I do like to take it just a little bit slower. So there's the heart piece. So the Reploids only spawn in based on proximity, so if you're not close enough to a Reploid, it won't spawn in. Sometimes that can cause you to just straight up miss the Reploid. It doesn't look like a great effect, and the Reploid mechanic was removed for X8, and I think it was a good call to bring back the shop in X8 instead of have it be a Reploid saving system. Unless they... another thing that I wish would be changed was the Reploids being affected by attacks. There definitely needs to be a tweaks patch for X7. I would love for there to be one and have it be compatible with the Legacy Collection so we can have the best of both worlds, a beautiful looking version of X7 and a brand new tweaked variant of this. Got the heart piece there. And with that, there's all the bombs. Felipe says, calm down there, Usain Bolt. Going a bit fast there. Yeah, but I did it first try. And I didn't have any Reploids die on me. I didn't get them all, but hey. You can actually make up to, like, I think 6 laps on that thing if you just hold down the X button. Casey says, stop treating me like a kid. Quote from Vanishing Gungaroo, and we'll get to that. They actually put out a new animation just the other day, which is just perfect.
Your breathing's getting heavy. Calm down. Anyway, in a way, this is exactly how I'm repaying Red.
Oh, you brat! I ought to take the likes of you and
duel, just you and me. Yeah.
So we are in a cage above the highway. Rydborski isn't too hard. There's actually a blind point in his stage right about where I'm standing. Roughly, all you gotta do is basically take off that guy, and he's good. But we'll use X for this, because his charge shot is incredibly overpowered. Also, upgrading X from his standard appearances, he now has an air dash from the very start of the stage. I believe this is one of, I think, 3 bosses in the game that use this overhead perspective. I think this perspective is rather cool for a boss fight in a Mega Man game. I do think an overhead Mega Man title could totally work, but certainly this is something to be seen. The lock-on makes a few things trivial in this game, which is a shame, but I think it helps with dodging, and these guys do have some pretty interesting patterns. I believe you can get rid of those guys. They do come back after enough time. However, just to keep things consistent, Rydborski's down. There's going to be one stage in this entire game where I'm going to ask for, if you get motion sickness rather easily, don't look at the screen, because it is going to be very dicey. Now we have Moving Wheel. Ejects the surface rotating... It's a spiked disc that runs along the ground, kind of like Wheel Gator's weapon. Only slower and... I think that's the best way to put it. It's not a great weapon. However, we saved a majority of the Reploids, and I think we got all of them with the discs. So there's Rock, and I think we got... Maybe we got it. Yes, we did. Tanaka. And with this, we will have a maxed out Axel. There are 3 endings to this game. All 3 of them are canon. None of them contradict each other. Okay. And with that, we no longer have to worry about upgrading any characters into the future. In fact, I believe they will no longer give us discs. So, that'll be something to look forward to. There's also going to be a point probably later on that I turn on Rookie Hunter mode, just so that way then we can keep the pace of the game moving on, because there is a lot going on here. Return to results screen. I do wish it just said go back to stage select, but that option was not there. I believe there was a list going around of things that people wanted changed for a tweaks patch of this game, but that has not been made yet, so if you want to be the first to make an X7 patch for tweaking this game, by all means, go for it. I do love the soundtrack here. This cutscene song is just one of my favorite things.
Are all really skilled Reploids.
Except I heard they were mostly criminals.
No, they don't do anything bad. Well, at least most of the time.
What's your point?
I'm serious. They really didn't do bad until suddenly.
Felipe says no point to helping anyone anymore. No, they can still upgrade our health and our weapons, so we do want to get them. We're just not going to be rushing after them like I have been this entire playthrough. Speaking of Reploids, though, if you collect at least, I believe, 70 of them, which is a majority of the way through the game, you will unlock the ability to play as X. Because at the beginning, you only play as X and Zero. The Reploids talk them into X into fighting. The other way to unlock X is to beat all of the 8 Mavericks, and X will unlock for the final levels. But X will be so woefully underpowered, it's not super worth it. And since I think this is a ranged man's game, I really do think that we're gonna have to step up our play skills. Absolutely. Speaking of a really cool level, I love this concept for this stage. So going into this stage, I'm gonna use Axel and I think Glide Armor X, even though we haven't had the full unlock yet. But it's gonna be better for us to upgrade X to max before we do anything else. So in the X5 and 4 and 5, we had spinning tower stages with staircases. And this time we're in full 3D, so it doesn't make me feel like I'm absolutely losing my bonkers mind. So yeah, good level. I hope everybody enjoyed the shorts and stuff while I was away. I noticed we got a few nasty comments from a few people, but hey, so be it. Some people just don't get the craftsmanship that it takes to make a fursuit. Speaking of videos, though, we have one coming out later this week as the sequel to the Sonic Origins video. We prepped it. We played Plus. I enjoyed Plus, but it should have been what the base game was. And right up here, Onion. Yes, this is Tornado Tunyon. And here's our first 3D section for the fight. I think this boss is so cool. You definitely want a turbo controller if you're going to be playing as Axel. Essentially, we're just going to sit here and mash for a little while. Then the hermit crab here likes to spin around. So Glide Armor X allows us to glide down like this. This is how the glide works. Something that not everybody is a super huge fan of, and I can't blame them. The animation is rather poor. But with X's air dash, I mean, it makes up for it. X doesn't have a dodge roll, but he does have a charge shot, which is insanely powerful. The Buster adds 3 other homing pieces to the Buster. So even if you're not fully locked on, parts of the Buster, three standard shots that ignore invincibility frames will hit the boss, which is fantastic. And the armor halves damage, and the helmet allows for the Giga attack. So that is the glide armor, and that is why I think it is an earlier armor, because there's just not as much going on with it as we've seen with other characters. Certainly this is a much better game on your second or third playthrough, but not your first. Your first is always going to be a struggle to the end. Unless you have the Legacy Collection, in which case you can just play Rookie Hunter mode. This is also the one stage with a Yoku block. And I mean a Yoku block. There's really not that many of them. You can't make it across here, but Yoku. Yoku. And all you gotta do is wait. Luckily, there isn't a bottomless pit in this stage, really. You'll just fall down to a previous level. And just like that, I just got everybody in the stage. Hello, Niall J-Pop. Bop. Sorry.
Around and around!
Alright.
UBX. I ask you a favor, yes? Stop us. Stop Red Thief, yeah?
Tornado Tunyon is not evil. He does not want to fight, but he is being forced to by the professor.
We no longer. Professor? Who the heck is that? We no control, yeah? Can't stop none of us. Please, please save us. We becoming something else.
So it is my theory that they are being turned into next generation Reploids, ones that follow Sigma. And as we'll find, that is a massive plot point in X8. that next generation Reploids are going Maverick, and they shouldn't. They shouldn't be able to go Maverick is the thing. Or they shouldn't be able to go Maverick by the Sigma virus, at least. So I should talk about the controls. Circle is dash, square is shoot. L1 and R1 rotate the camera left and right respectively. The bottom weapon, the bottom two, L2 switches between switches characters. R2 does Giga Crush. Right stick switches weapons. Triangle is your special weapon. And in most cases, we won't have to use the special weapons too awfully much. Right analog stick moves you, but so does the D-pad, because they thought ahead and knew about 2D sections. Makes me happy. Anytime a 2D platformer does not allow me to use the D-pad, it frustrates me. So it is a good thing that we got it here. Levi said they are going sicko mode, and no one knows why. But no, they know why. It's because of the professor. We'll get into who the professor is later. Volt Tornado is one of those really useful weapons in this game. It's got some usefulness. The thing about this weapon is that it also changes Axel's Buster. Yes, because Axel can get new guns. Because his standard shots are just regular pea-shoots, just like X, but he can't copy all of the weapons using them, which is interesting. I find it interesting, at least. I would like to see, I would love to see my bud Reploid Revo do a video on Axel's blasters and other blasters like it across the series, because we don't really know a whole lot about them, or at least I don't, and I think he probably would know a lot more than I do. We're gonna go stage select. Usually the next boss we would fight is Splash Warfly, but I think we're gonna... Oh, bless you. I am going to be doing a few other things. A few other bosses beforehand.
Suddenly asked me to hand over the copied DNA data. He never asked me to do that before.
You don't mean?
Exactly. Soon after that, they started getting more and more powerful.
So they used the DNA data?
I think so. But Red didn't tell me everything. All I know is that I was used for my stupid ability.
So there's that. So there's a little bit more. Axel was being used the entire time. We're gonna go to Vanishing Gungaroo. And for this stage in particular, specifically near the end, we are going to be switching, or starting at the beginning, we're going to switch into Rookie Hunter mode. It does a few different things that make the game a lot easier.
Ready?
And you can see them in real time here. So take note of our health bar and our weapon meter. When we turn on Rookie Hunter mode, our weapon meter gets longer. In fact, I believe that's close to the longest it'll be in the game. Another thing that happens is we get a increased defense buff, and we can no longer fall down pits. I used Rookie Hunter mode back in X1 for the final boss, even though I had beaten the game multiple times. That final boss still just gets me a couple times. This is the stage with all the ride armors. We have this really slow one, but it's got a rapid shot, and the rapid shot works the way I wanted Axel's rapid shot to work. Just auto-locking on. There's the wall down. If we hit triangle, we have these lovely explosives that are super powerful and also very, very pointless. We also have a health bar for the ride armor.
I love how I got here just in time for Vanishing Gumberer.
You did! You're also, I don't think you're audio balanced.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead and talk for a bit.
Hi everyone, it's Casey. I'm back again for another stream.
You're gonna have to be a bit louder.
I have this as close to my face as I can.
I'm going to turn you up then. Talk now.
Alright, so how's this? Is this good?
Speak up a little bit.
Alright, I'm speaking up a bit more. Is that any good?
Yeah, I'll just go up a little bit higher. There we go. We're good.
Alright, that sounds good.
Now we have somebody to read the chat. Yay! How was your day at work, Casey?
It was really good. I'm gonna be working a bit more this week, so...
Yep. You're gonna be the busy girl of the house, aren't you?
Yep, I gotta wake up tomorrow at 6. I'm opening.
Yeah, Truman is home today. He is not feeling well, so...
Poor boy.
Yeah. So we got this toxic sludge down here. I actually think this stage is one of the cooler ones with the set pieces, because we're in this mine slash mine-like facility.
So I tried to open up Discord as quick as I could, and the first thing I see is ground sandwich.
Ground sandwich. Yes, I do not have the ground sandwich on today because I figured, well, we're already playing we're already at X7. Nobody needs to see the ground sandwich. We have these turtle bots from X1, and they've got this neat mechanic where the head can only be hit, and they switch sides sometimes. Kind of like what you hoped a turtle could do. Like,
so you're playing as Axel, I assume?
we are playing as Axel and X.
Nice.
Right now we are fully maxed out. Thanks to my little prep this morning and last night. I got to show off the upgrade system with Zero and Axel, and we're now maxed out with both characters. I'm currently using the glide armor. I went over what all of the parts do, but not where all of them are at. We've only actually found the glide pieces. So, know that if you start a New Game Plus, you're not going to have to recollect the armor pieces, so.
Hello, Foxino. Because X7 looks pretty interesting.
It is certainly something. A 3DX game with some of the odder mechanics from X5 and 6. It's certainly something.
Otter? I like otters.
You like otter, yeah. The mammal.
Ready?
Can you hear me, Ed? Can you hear me, Ed?
Oh boy. Yeah. So this is the part of the game where the counter doesn't show up properly. So there's supposed to be a counter in the bottom right-hand corner that says how many targets you have left. Much like we saw with Ride Borsky's stage, when we were getting all of the time bombs off the road. Oh, here's our first sub-tank. There's supposed to be a sound effect when you pick them up. You don't get the sound effect when you pick them up. No, I don't know why.
That's strange.
It is strange.
Oh, you switched to X. I didn't even realize you did.
Yep. You can switch by just hitting L2. And that is going to be a feature going into X8. And I think X8, the feature in X8 is so cool. Speaking of ride armors, here is one of my favorites in the game. It's fast, it's nimble, it's a spider. When you hit triangle, you do this really awesome, like, blast move. It's so cool. Puts a smile on my face.
I don't blame you. I don't think I've ever liked the spider more.
And as long as we stay inside the ride armor and keep it near the center, we will actually have it for the boss fight. As you notice, the counter is still not here. And this is where a lot of people stopped playing because they didn't know what to do. They would just kill a bunch of these guys and be like, I don't get it. It says to kill them, but I'm destroying them and they just keep coming. And this is going to be a running theme. The tally is set up too high for the counter to recognize what's going on. So it only starts counting down around 5. So, but there it is in the bottom. Certainly, this is a game where I think Rookie Hunter mode comes in handy. Especially for the boss fight, because this boss can take a lot out of me.
I'm turning up the volume right now.
Oh boy. A lot of people like this guy's voice, so.
I'm thinking about doing like a redub.
If you want to try.
How do you figure, Axel? Who'd have thought I'd turn out stronger than you? I'm not the kid you used to know.
But you're acting like a kid right now.
Don't call me a kid. I ain't that no more. If you keep misbehaving, you won't get your snack.
That is my favorite line in this entire game. If you keep misbehaving, you're not gonna get your snack. I think
You know
it's...
what's even better about this?
What?
It sounds like two kids arguing over a freaking fig bar.
It does! It really does. It's so doofy and stupid. And the best thing is that this is actually the same voice actress for Axel and Vanishing Unguru. So she had to read both of these lines out with different inflections. And at first glance, you won't notice until somebody points it out to you, which is great.
That's fair.
Some people will, but...
Quit treating me like a kid!
As you can see, he's got a little health bar for his ride armor that we don't get to use, and then we have this one for him, for his actual fight. I'm just gonna keep using the stomp. So something that should be noted is, and I'll bring this up later, in the Japanese original, the bosses did not have voice clips. I repeat, they did not have voice clips in the fight themselves. So, all of these are added for the US release. So, if you hear Vanishing Gungaroo go try to say triangle kick, or Flame Hyaenard saying burn to the ground, but then it looping and saying burn, burn, burn to the ground. And yeah, no. All of the voice clips are set to specific animations and attacks, and they didn't time them out properly, so none of the bosses like to simmer down and be quiet for the fights in the US release. Luckily, if you own the Legacy Collection too, you also own this version also works with the Japanese variant, so you can basically switch between it before a boss fight, but it does take a little bit to load. And here's one of Axel's new weapons.
An RPG. No, I'm kidding.
I mean, you're not wrong. It is a very powerful explosion weapon. So. Oh boy. I'm not ready for today, honestly. So Casey, how have you been doing today?
I've been doing pretty good. Couple of rowdy customers, but that's about it.
Nothing too crazy?
Nothing too crazy.
Cool.
I see Dan.
Yep. Some of them are named after the Street Fighter cast. The localization team did that on purpose. X7 may not be the best game, but it certainly is a game.
It game.
It game. Kind of like It Day, but It game. It's one of those games where I'm like, I have nothing to add to this. I like to save multiple times, I just generally do. I have 100%ed this on the Legacy Collection before. I then accidentally erased that file. I've beaten it for stream on the 24-hour Mega Man stream that I did last year. I beat it on the PS2 original 3 times to get all of the things, and I did the same thing here. So.
Red Alert has changed completely. They aren't the friends I knew anymore.
So since we are getting a little bit further in, I would like to know what ending you guys want to see, because you can only get one ending.
And we're not playing this game 3 times.
Yeah, so.
Soon, I couldn't stand it anymore, so I jumped ship and...
So.
And what?
It's nothing. It's just...
Whoever you pick in the poll will be the one we play the final stages with.
So there's a missing link.
I've gotten all 3 of them, so I know what happens. So they're all the same ending. So
I love how I voted and said there's now 0 votes.
Says 100% of you guys chose Axel. There's 1 vote. Yeah, feel free to vote in the chat if you're watching. That'll be for way later on, so the poll will run for a while. Let's see, what else? Oh, right! I should say, YouTube updated their policy, so here soon, as long as we can hit 3,000 watch hours, we will be good to go for monetization and whatnot. So, if by the time you're watching this, there's a join feature for the channel, go click it. But for now, subscribe, stick around, ring the bell, drop a like, because I don't plan on stopping playing any of these games anytime soon. Speaking of, we have weapons to beat just about everybody. We're going to go for Wind Crow Raying real quick. I gotta love people on their bikes.
Yeah, especially when they do donuts in your parking lot at work.
Oh, they were doing donuts in your parking lot?
Yeah, we had to call the cops.
Oh my gosh. Did you ask them to stop? And then they just didn't?
Yeah, I did. I tried to speak to them and they just kept rubbing their engine at me to interrupt me.
What a jerk.
Can you hear me, Axel?
I mean, you're an auto you're an auto parts store. So, I mean, it makes sense, but like, yikes. Speaking of, on the way to New York, we saw a sign. I sent this to Casey earlier, but I figure it's a good story to tell. We saw a sign on the way there that was for a different auto part repair shop, and it was called Casey's, and it was spelled the exact same way as her name, so me and Truman were like, we didn't know you owned a store.
What did I say? I said something in return that was like really...
You were like, oh, the jig's up. Yep, I'm actually a repair shop or something.
You guys sent me the Capcom sign.
That too. We saw a gas station that said Capcom, and it was like, isn't that just perfect? I'm playing Capcom games all this week.
I said, frick, you guys found me out. Yeah, I do own a shop.
Yeah.
You guys never sent me the picture, though.
Oh, I didn't take a picture of it. I just saw it. We were passing by it a little bit too fast.
That's fair.
We saw a whole bunch of signs. There were some signs for an adult store that we saw that made me and Truman lose it. One of them said every day is hump day and then it said the store's name. And then you drive a little bit further and there was another sign that just was like, you don't want to be moving on the ship, by the way. The moving ships change your momentum and physics because you don't cling to the object like it's a platform. It's like it's moving out from under you when you walk. You only get clinged to it when you are standing on it, like standing still.
That is a long name for a sign.
No. I'm explaining mechanic here.
No, I know. That was being funny.
One of the other signs was like, oh shoot, now I can't remember it. Karmic's probably got him up his sleeve. He's got a bunch of them memorized. But he'll probably put one in chat in a bit if he remembers. We still only have one vote for the poll, which is a shame because we got 5
That's
people
my
watching.
vote.
We have 5 people watching and nobody voted. Only you. Alright, here is next part. Also, we have a new Met for you to add. The Red Alert Mets. Look at them with their cute little goggles. They're all over this game. I love them.
Oh, they're so cute. Their animations are adorable.
I know, it's one of those, it's one of the ones where not every animation in X7 is great, but the Mets just, they're so cute. They're well animated. They're polished. They fit the design.
I like how the helmet doesn't directly fit on their head. It's kind of slanted.
We're gonna go get Kelly over here. One of my favorite things to explore is just how far away the hitboxes, like the invisible walls are. You can do stupid stuff like this. I don't know. I'm just being a dingus. Then once you do that, you have these bird bots come in. I suppose you could look at this as the mini-boss for the area. They like to grab you and then do chip damage and then immediately throw you to the ground. I have Rookie Hunter mode on just to keep the flow of the game going, because this game likes to break up pacing with difficulty spikes. So, do not mind my max out energy meter.
Is that guy's name Yamaguchi?
I think it was supposed to be romanized as Yamaguchi, but... Okay, here is one of the Reploids that is a absolute pain to get. This guy right here. If you're not fast enough, he will climb down the wall and shoot at you, which will hit the Reploid. Which makes that getting him is just annoying. Certainly not fun. So, Casey, what do you think of X7 so far?
I'm loving it. It looks really cool. You know what it gives me my vibes of?
What's that?
It reminds me of the mech stages from Sonic Adventure 2.
You know what? I think that's a perfect comparison. Because if you enjoy those stages, you'll probably enjoy some of what X7 has to offer. Not all of it, of course, but most of it.
Mainly that part right there is what gave me vibes of it, because this looks like the Space Colony arc.
Let's see, how high is... Yeah, we'll see about X here for this. We'll play as X for a little while. Speaking...
Silver? It's no use.
Oh my gosh. So here's the other capsule. This one's for the body part. This one allows for half damage. It also allows for you to use the Giga, or no, just half damage, my bad. Giga attack is the helmet. Just like in earlier X titles, you can actually use all of the parts individually in this game, so you don't have to worry about getting all 4 of them before you can use the glide armor. People really want Zero.
Where are you? Come out and face me.
No, guys, pick Axel. We already know what Zero and X would sound
I
like.
can see it in your eyes. You would prefer to avoid a fight.
Yes, of course. I don't want any more people getting hurt.
You really are a soft fool, X. Well then, just stand there peacefully while I erase both you and your silly ideals.
Yeah, these guys aren't gonna stand for anything more than a fight. fight to the death.
Don't you know how hard we tried to build this world? That is a weird camera angle.
It is, but it's the most standard boss fight in this game aside from the first phase of Sigma.
My chat not updating?
No, X7 looks pretty interesting is the last thing that was said.
Dang.
Chat's been pretty peaceful today, honestly.
Peaceful for once?
I know, right?
I'm kind of confused.
Usually they rip these games apart, but nope, not today.
I guess they just like Vanishing Dungaroo that much.
I suppose so. Now we got Wind Crow-Rang. This weapon is a boomerang. It's not a very good angle to see that it's a boomerang, but it's a boomerang. If you look at it right, it looks like the shot just zipped back and X is gonna get hit with his own weapon, but...
That'd be funny.
So, I've played this game before on PS2 originally. So, I've played the original version of this and this version. And I prefer the Legacy Collection. Rookie Hunter mode helps this game along so much. More weapon, more health. Nigel had the heart. Yamaguchi, yep. We got everybody in that level. Usually I don't do that.
The character models look fine in the stage, but on the weapon get screen, the weaknesses are very highlighted.
Yeah. Yeah. We're gonna see it very highlighted in a couple levels, too. It gets rough, to say the least. Also, if you don't read Japanese and you're planning on playing the Japanese version of this game, be very careful about the menus, because you can get looped in the alias sections.
Who goes there? Show yourself.
Alias Lost Woods Paradox.
Alias Lost menu.
Lost menu.
Somebody should
It
do
just
that.
becomes a Summoning Salts video. And here's the story of how to escape Alias Lost Menu.
They've got nothing to do with us. We'll do as we please, hunters or no. Get lost. I don't even know who the heck you are.
Me? Let's just say I'm a sympathizer with your cause.
Here we have a very sickly Sigma in the background. We've officially seen what the professor looks like. At least a little bit, and he looks like that zombie Sigma that was incomplete.
That was honestly the funniest thing ever, just to see sick Sigma.
Yeah, he's definitely sick here. I will definitely agree with that.
Splash Warfly.
He's got a really cool stage.
Ready?
You're on a fleet of ocean battle cruisers.
Hmm.
Go ahead and get Anthony.
It's Ian.
We gotta help Ian.
He's flying.
So, unlike in X6, where only the Nightmares could get Reploids, here every enemy can hit a Reploid, and you will lose that Reploid. It becomes kind of a mad dash to get the Reploids, and while I said I wasn't going to go after all of them, I do want them because they do upgrade your health, and I need more health and weapon ammo if I'm going to beat this game.
So, question.
Yep.
Are they gone for good on that file alone?
They're gone for good until you do a new, either a new game plus or a or reset your save to the previous save before you played the level.
That's freaking bonkers.
So if you missed a Reploid your first time around and they died, you either have to reload your save and try again, or you have to or you have to basically retry the stage and hope to do it again with the okay. You have to redo it with the save, or hope to get them next time on your next playthrough. And if you aren't going after all of them, and don't know which ones are giving you the weapon upgrades, you can essentially reset yourself into having to play this game 5, 6, 7 times before everybody's upgraded. The bare minimum is 3 playthroughs, this being the 3rd for this file in particular.
Huh.
Speaking of fancy ideals with X and not being perfectly implemented, though, I should probably get to this, how I change weapons. I mentioned before that it's on the right analog stick. So Casey, how would you expect them to do it?
What? I forget what game it was particular. It's a Mega Man game where you just,
11.
No.
11 has it on the right stick too. So if you're talking about 11...
It was 11.
Okay. So 11, the way that 11 does it is that you have all of the weapon wheel is set up, and you can basically move things around to wherever you want, right? So you can quickly flip your stick, and you're at your next weapon. Here, it acts like the L and R buttons. Left and right are all that change weapons.
That's so dumb.
So it still takes forever, and now it takes even longer because you have to flick the stick.
Ooh, Hydrobot.
With the charged up variations, with the armor, you can charge up your special weapons, which is nice. You can do all sorts of crazy tricks, like this. Get this fancy little barrier. Not everybody knows about all the weapons charged up abilities, because most people don't play this game very long. I don't even know about all of them. I just know that I like some of them, and I don't use them much.
Ready?
Okay, we are on our next cruiser after we beat the Hydra from Launch Octopus stage again. We're gonna pick up that
was the sea snake.
There was a lot of callbacks. I didn't mention it in the intro stage, but the intro stage is actually the same highway as X1. I'm not even kidding. It's the same one. Even Zero's like, not here again. Like, that's the last time everything went bad. This was released on an anniversary year, so it makes sense. But some people called it cheap. Like nothing but a gimmick to get back old fans. And I mean, I could see it that way, but... This little mech here, all we gotta do is take out the cannons. I say little, it's larger than me, so... And once you take out all the cannons, it blows up. Oh boy. Alright. I'm definitely glad to be back streaming. I'm not prepared for X8 though. And X8 is supposed to be, I believe, tomorrow's stream. The bee there will take a beeline for that Reploid if you're not careful. Here's another set. It's the Trash Met. I don't know if you were able to see it, Casey.
I wasn't, because you killed it too quickly.
Oh, I'm sorry. Here, let me see if
we got a tie for Zero and Axel.
Ooh, maybe we can get a tiebreaker. We've got plenty of time, though. It won't happen until the final level, so...
Do it, do it.
We've even got 20% for X, so.
Oh, somebody did a tiebreaker for 0.
Ooh. Lovely. Once again, that tiebreaker is... That poll is going to run into... until the end of the playthrough. Essentially, that final level, so...
I was put back on the job, thanks to you creeps.
So you're saying we're playing too rough? Fool! This is our natural state, just like you.
No!
Rusted old machines should stay home and play with their toasters.
No.
Take this!
Okay. Casey, what do you think? Do you think rusted old machines should stay home and play with their toasters?
Yes. Brother James deserves to be acknowledged.
So, this boss arena is really cool. You can jump between the 3 platforms here. However, it's really not worth it. You'll actually have an easier time just staying to one file. Staying to one island here. His weakness is Tornado Tunyon's weapon. This is actually it's not too hard of a boss fight, but it is a bit much, so just keep moving around the stage. And eventually I'll keep moving. Okay. And just like that, Splash Fly is down. You know, honestly, for as much hate as this game gets, it still plays perfectly fine, just like X6.
It's got really good visuals, too.
Yeah. I get less frustrated with this because it takes less time for me to beat. I think that's the key component to an X game being really good or really bad. If you can hit that sweet point of about 3 hours, you're good. The minute you cross over into 4 hours or 7, I just start losing it. I just cannot keep playing. I get frustrated with it. So for this, it's not bad. We're ranking up easily too, so
yeah.
I'm actually doing really good at getting all the Reploids, believe it or not. We haven't had a single Reploid die on us yet, Casey.
Oh, shoot, really? Well, I did watch from the beginning, so I should know, duh. Look, Peter Parker's giving you a part.
How nice of him. Of course, that part still can't save Gwen Stacy, and that's just when he decks me.
Oh my god! No!
Oh, ever start a fight with Peter Parker? Just mention.
Everyone, let's fight Gavin. He's making fun.
Just start bringing up Uncle Ben.
Uncle Ben, what happened?
The rice hit him.
The rice.
Yeah, Uncle Ben's rice. It's a brand of rice.
I know, I just realized what you meant.
Oh boy. To the stage select.
He possesses incredible talent.
Oh, you. Don't surprise me like that. You mean Axel's imitator ability? Yeah. I have no idea how he does it, but it's our secret weapon. Without him, we wouldn't work half as fast.
But his talents are wasted as things stand.
What? What do you mean?
Would you be willing to place a wager on my little idea?
Oh boy. So things are heating up over there. Yeah, we're at 92 out of like 126, I believe. 28.
Dang.
So we're actually doing really, really well in terms of Reploid count. So do we do
Don't
Flame
hurt yourself.
Hyanard or Snipe Anteater?
Wait, did you say Snipe Anteater?
Yes, Snipe Anteater or Flame Hyanard.
We'll save Flame Hyanard for last.
Alrighty. This is the part of the stage where if you do get motion sickness easily, I recommend skipping this stage. Looking away, taking some time. I'll try my best to stay as level and even as possible, but I cannot promise that I won't be switching a little bit here or there. So how are we doing on health? We're looking about the same in terms of HP. So we'll upgrade Axel, because...
Oh my goodness, I see what you mean. Holy moly.
It's gonna flip upside down in a bit.
Spoilers?
Spoilers for a little bit, but... So this is probably one of the easier enemies to handle. Hit him 3 times with a charge shot, you can turn into him. He's got this lovely sword attack, his dash is pretty good. The only problem is he's slow and his jump isn't very high, so...
He is samurai?
Yes, he is!
That's awesome.
We are in the cyberspace world, so this is the same area where Battle Network can cross over, and also the same area where we fought Cyber Peacock.
That's pretty crazy.
And Mega Man 10's Sheepman, so... Of course, it's heavily updated. This is also probably where the the dive computer happens as well. Is stored, so... But this is what I mean. We flip upside down. This is supposed to be a maze, so if you get motion sickness easily, I recommend looking away for no other reason than I don't want my chat getting sick. I don't want my audience to suffer. Okay, we hit him once. These bees are just going to keep coming at us, by the way. Flip here. Collect that. This is also a stage where we'll be getting our next capsule part. Now, of course, as Axel, we cannot... as the samurai form, we cannot jump nearly as high, so we can't actually enter the portals. So we have to wait on the timer. X8 gives Axel the ability to unmorph after getting this. Here, we just have to wait the timer out.
This is dumb.
Yep. Completely and utterly agree.
How was your day?
My day's been okay.
That's
It's been okay. My depression is still having its way with me, but I am fighting back as hard as I can.
You got this.
I say we'll take this one with Axel, and then we make our way back around. Luckily, the maze isn't too hard if you can keep yourself kind of centered on some locations. Of course, these Reploids are a bit tough to collect just because there's so many of them here. Each stage, just like the last time, has 16 Reploids to get, so... Can be a little bit of a hassle. Casey, if you want to catch up on chat for a little bit, looks like we got some new people talking.
What does he mean by that? Burn. And that's all that there is.
Okay. Well, I have no idea what you're talking about exactly. If you want to clarify, I can clarify whatever you're confused about. Alright.
The bosses don't say anything on their selection screen, do they?
Like, what do you mean? Like, do they...
Like, do you remember how some bosses, I don't remember which game it was.
Are you talking about Powered Up and how they had voices when you selected them?
They did. I thought there was some for X.
Yes, that's gonna come in X8. This
Oh,
game
okay.
does not have that.
Okay.
We get
I
the
know
announcer
Power does
saying
that.
the name, but that's it.
Vanishing Gungaroo. Stop treating me like a kid.
I think it would be Destroy, actually, for him.
Oh yeah, freaking Vanishing Gungaroo. Destroy!
Yeah, it just works. Flame Hyanards would be Burn, like, yeah, there's... You could make that. Some things I would love to see them do if they do a tweaks patch for this game. I doubt it'll ever come, because people don't really think about X7 in the same way they think about X6 and X5, but... They actually think about... I've seen a lot more people actually hate this game with a passion. To the point where I'm like, oh, okay. I see more people dislike this game than I do people dislike X6, but I think that's because most people don't look at it from my point of view, where a game can get boring after enough time if you're doing the same thing. So right here, I believe, is the capsule for X. This is where we get the Buster part, I believe. If not the helmet. It's one of the two. I think Buster was Flame Hyanard stage. I think we have to go out through here and then into the next area. Yep. Okay. Put them upside down here. And then right here is the end of the level. Okay, X or Axel for this dialogue here, Casey?
X.
Okay. This fight is one of the hardest fights in the game, by the way.
Oh, splendid. Even better than expected.
How long must this madness go on?
Let me ask you, how long has this madness been going on? The annals of history contain endless records of war. The madness will never end.
You're wrong. We can create a world without war. Utopia is not just a dream.
You can't build a utopia on top of the graves of rebels like myself.
But even so, I must follow my beliefs.
Yeah, Snipe Anteater messes with people's head. Like, he knows where Axel came from, but won't tell him. And for Zero, at least, Zero just does not care. With the Buster upgrade, though, Snipe Anteater goes down like a piece of cake. I didn't mention, I mentioned earlier that Axel has other Busters, so here's the explosion weapon.
Ooh.
Here is the Tornado Tunion's weapon. He's got a laser beam. He still has the tornado, but he's also got the beam for the shoot. Splash Warfly is the regular Buster. Regular. Yeah. Essentially, we can't follow him all the way around here, but we can try to hit him. And with X's abilities, you can actually hit him through the wall. You just jump and go around. And even if your main shot doesn't hit him, with the new try homing attack, easy peasy lemon squeezy. Just like that.
Dang.
Fight is done and over. Done and
That was
dusted.
quick.
Mm-hmm. I told you, I've gotten really good at this game. I
believe you.
I enjoy this game, believe it or not. I enjoy it more than X6 at least. But, I just think there's more to enjoy here. I think the fresh art style also kind of helps, just it being in 3D.
Yeah.
Reminds me a little bit of Legends, so. And with that...
It's like another game that's,
Yeah.
I don't know how to put it. I was gonna say Super Mario RPG, like just like another game that was originally 2D and then became 3D, but then I was like, wait a minute. I'm sorry, I'm still hype. I'm still overly hype about it.
Oh, you're fine. Perfectly okay.
I kind of watched the trailer over and over again while at work.
Oh. Yeah, it's something to be excited about, so I don't blame you.
I mean, I cried watching the trailer.
We're almost 2 hours in, and we're finally at the final boss for the 8 Mavericks. We're gonna end the poll after the red fight.
You see that? This is what one can do with DNA data.
Amazing. I had no idea that DNA data could provide so much power. You're incredible.
So yeah.
Well, I hope I've proven my abilities to you. But this is only the beginning. If you give me the chance, I can make you invincible.
What? You mean I could be even stronger?
This is such...
Absolutely. But in order to do so, we'll need the mouse that ran away. He must collect more data, and then I will make you the strongest hunters that ever lived.
Yeah.
Work? He'll never come back. We've set him free. And as for our power, we have quite enough. I thank you truly, but we already are undefeatable.
You don't need any more power, huh? Well, that can be true in your case. But he still has an unfinished job.
Sigma clearly knows about Axel.
Finished job?
There is vital data still missing. The most powerful Reploid data is not yet in my hand.
You used us. And Axel? We've had enough of this. We won't search for him for you. And we won't attack any more innocent Reploids. Not one!
As you can see, Red here does not like the fact that Sigma's using him.
I thought you'd be a bit more.
Ooh, somebody voted for X, and now we're at
But let's do this.
Zero is heavily in the lead, but for the second character, we have no idea who it's gonna be.
What's wrong, guys? What are you doing? You! What have you done to my pals?
Oh, consider it payment for the power-ups I gave you. Well, what'll it be? If you don't follow my orders, they'll never return to normal.
Oh, his face is revealed.
Along
It's
Yep.
Sigma.
It's Sigma. The professor is Sigma. What a shocking twist and turn of events.
It's nuts.
To Flame Hyanards we go. This stage is actually really, really well designed. I just think that the boss fight isn't. But I like this level. Especially when you don't have to go after all the Reploids.
Ready?
The music here is pretty good. It reminds me of Sonic 06's music. We've got these we got the reuse of the it does. It's got Crisis City energy.
Let me turn up the. Oh, what stage is this?
Flame Hyanards.
Right. Give me a second. You're saying Crisis City
From Sonic 06. Yeah.
Yeah. I gotta listen to this then.
With this guy here, we can't wall jump, but we can jump higher, and also get this lovely glide, which is basically X's glide. I think with the thruster in the back, though, it does suit it just a little bit better.
Yeah, it's like breakcore mixed with orchestra. Yeah, I can hear it.
It's good. And the theming here of we are inside of a gigantic volcano, lava-ish sort of area.
Make Crazy go bonkers, or Casey go bonkers.
Oh, wow. So, yes, if you fall into a pit while Rookie Hunter mode is on, you will end up going back to the last place you were standing at. No matter how far away that last place was. I'm sure that's used for a glitch somewhere. Another thing to know, and this is something that a lot of people don't realize, is that if a time bomb or something goes off and the Reploid's nearby, they'll die. But if you can despawn the Reploid by getting far enough away from it before the thing explodes, the Reploid's A-okay and the bomb is gone. Enemies stay on screen before Reploid does, so keep that in mind if you're going for all the Reploids. We gotta go down there and get Steve real quick. We're also gonna swap into X here. We want to barely spawn on these guys, because otherwise they'll hit Jim. It happened in my test. Here's the capsule here. I believe that's either the helmet or the buster. Once again, don't remember which was which. But with that, we have all the glide armor parts. And with Axel's glide, we can go get Alan and finish this first part of the stage. Now that's the hard part if you're going to get Reploids. If you get all the Reploids, that is the hardest part of the stage right there.
Ready?
Now for the 3D section of the stage. This actually isn't too hard at all. All you gotta do is just keep moving. You don't want to get hit by the sound beams here. Or I presume they're sound beams, because they make a sound very similar to what I assume a sound beam would sound like. Kind of like this pulsing noise. Yeah, they like to do this a lot. Enemy right behind a Reploid that we'd have to save. Not a great time, but it's okay, because we can get through it. Here they want you to use that guy, but you can just hover. And just like that, that's how you get Gary. You can even do this without the extended hover. It's just a little closer and you gotta do a wall jump. Alright, we'll go ahead and get this heart piece with Axel. There are faster ways to do the stage. You could just skip around all over the place, but once again, it's one of those stages that I think is better designed than people give it credit for. I just
don't know why people hate on this game so much just because it has bad voice acting.
It's not bad. It's not just the bad voice acting. I went into earlier, the movement speed for X, Zero, and Axel are all set to the same integer scaling. So, for the US release, essentially, everybody is moving incredibly slower. Incredibly too slow. So the US release had longer load times than what you're seeing here. Even slower movement than this, and X isn't playable at the start. The Reploid being hurt by everything also impacts that quite a bit, because before upgrading everybody, the game plays very slowly. That's not because it's a bad... it's not a bad game. It just needs some tweaks. This is one of the ones where I really wish the fans would get on board and make a tweaks patch because, oh, so good. It needs to be better, but it's just so close to being perfect.
The pain will stop.
Don't worry, I have just the cure.
And by perfect, I mean no game's perfect, but like, this could get close. So here's the gimmick for this fight. There's 3 of them. Did I remember how I said the voice clips were mapped to animations? Well, here you can tell, because all 3 of the Flame Hyanards are technically set to the same animation set. So, they all say the same thing. So you get burn, burn, burn to the ground, burn to the ground, burn to the ground. And that is the order that people yell this at. I remember my little brother and me, we used to jokingly mock this game with burn to the ground. And then I willingly bought X7 and he got kind of upset. Luckily this isn't too hard of a fight. They do like to get mixed up quite a bit, so keep your eyes peeled. But yeah, I don't really need to focus here. If anybody has anything to talk about in chat for a little bit. Bosses to discuss. Anything I already haven't touched on.
Well, I'm checking right now. Nobody said anything so far.
Yeah. This isn't too hard of a fight, though, once you get on top here. The original idea was that you'd have to shoot this thing, and it would throw you off every now and again. They didn't program it to throw you off, so the only way you're getting thrown off is if Hyanard kicks you off, and that takes a little bit. I do like X's charge up a Splash Warfly's weapon. Just shoot the water orbs at everybody. Definitely a neat idea. I'm thoroughly enjoying myself, though. I don't think I can... I could say more. Like, I was worried about this game because I know it's 3D, and I usually don't have that much of a good time with it. But this time around, I'm just breezing through it. I think playing all the other X games leading up to this, too, also helped to, like, hone my skills even more than they already were, so that probably helped. And I don't believe we let our single Reploid die there, so... We're only missing, I don't think we're missing that many Reploids. Because we got them all their first try, which normally takes me 2 or 3 tries. Even though I practice, it took me 2 tries to get everybody here. Matthew and Tim had the chips. Gary had the heart, and Trevor and Tony had the weapon ups, so... I'm gonna go ahead and save it. So I mentioned before that the way the Mega Man games are structured are they start in development, they kind of start at the first stage and end with the last stage. You can tell that with the in-between stages, it was kind of a mixed bag between the stage designs. However, as we enter this final set of stages, you'll really see that the stage design, the boss design, they're the best they've been in this entire game.
Okay, everybody. That's point RD 1866, the location of Red Alert's base.
After this, I think I'm actually going to have some food, too, because I've only had a burrito today, and I should probably have something else. One of those microwavable little ones. I haven't been up that long.
Be on full guard. X0. Axel is in your hands.
I know.
What I would love is if for this stage in particular, we had all 3 of them and we could just switch between them. But instead, they make us pick 2, so... We'll be ending that poll in a little bit, so please vote to see which ending you want to see.
Got it. You do as you
that'll be the final hit on Sigma. So
Yeah. Just hold out a little more, Red. I'll be there to put an end to this.
the way the text box goes, it makes it look like Red, like he has some disdain for Red, but the way the voice direction is, it's very clear that he wants Red to be okay. He really does care for this man. All right. I am curious, how many Reploids did we have left? 1, 2, 3. 3. It looks like we just had 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. We had 4 Reploids left. Heart, 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 heart. And so one of them was a weapon up. I was missing 1 weapon up. That's a little crazy. I could go back and get it if I wanted to. There's also a couple other heart pieces I could have collected. But for the sake of keeping this game moving, I think we're ready to go fight Red. What would you say, Case?
I think we're ready.
Alright, so after the next stage after this one is when I cut the poll, okay? So if you want your specific ending, get it in now. By the way, Zero is still sitting at what he was at the beginning of the game, so we're gonna have a little bit. I love dash jumping in this game, by the way. It just feels good. There's a lot to enjoy here. I do. I think it's good. I think X8's better, but X7's still good. Not bad. I feel things while I play this. A little bit of frustration. A little bit of frustration, and quite a bit of fun. That's what I'm feeling.
That's fair.
But here's one of the upgraded version of the mole from Armored Armadillo's level. I said this game likes its references.
I can see that.
Swap into X here. There was a fan project to make X7 2D, however, that got put on hold recently.
Ready?
Oh, really?
Yep. It wasn't cease and desisted, it just got put on hold, so. I think they were looking for an extra programmer and maybe some art people. I know they had, like, Wind Krorang stage almost complete, though. And I think the opening stage, too. Oh, boy. I like that you can see that when I jump and shoot on him, you can see the 4 hit points of the other of the 3 homing things plus the buster. This game makes very clear what each part does, and it really does feel like X is the most powerful character in this game, even before upgrading. Just the charge shot shreds things. So, I could see why they wanted X to be a hidden character, if they wanted him to be this powerful. So, the rest of this week is going to be this. After this, we're going to do X8 next week, tomorrow. And then Maverick Hunter X on Thursday, and I believe we have an upload for Friday, so... I fell down that pit, so... What do you think about that, Casey?
I think that's pretty good.
Finished the X series in, what, 3 weeks?
Yeah, it's not bad.
Saving X Dive and Command Mission for when X Dive Offline comes out. Ever just... Casey, you want to do desert donuts on the highway?
What the freak?
Yeah, he tries to hit you by spinning around like that.
Dude.
As you can see, the charge shot just shreds this boss. Empathetic Apathy says Divine Beast Varuda Battle. I believe that was Thunderblight Ganon, correct?
I do not remember. I didn't. That's where I am right now.
Yeah, you're having a fun time there, aren't you?
I still haven't passed that, by the way.
Oh, you're fine. You'll get it. You'll get it eventually.
Eventually. When I decide to continue the game.
Alrighty. Stage select. Alright. This is the final stage. Get your votes in, folks. So if I remember correctly, you do get to pick after the red fight. So we're gonna go okay here, and if not, I will redo the final fight to do the extra state to see the correct ending. But this stage is another one where I think the level's actually really, really well designed. Like, we've got this upward climb, diagonals, boulders that you can't destroy, so your best bet is to duck. Enemies that are in proper placements, where they'll still hit you, but they're easily avoided. The camera's a little too zoomed in for my liking, but I mean, not everything's gonna be perfect for this game. Especially with this being the RE2 development team, nothing's gonna be perfect. Music here, though, is really good, too. I think that's the key thing. The music just keeps getting better and better. Here it shows all 3 of them come in, but since it's only set up for 2, we don't get all 3, and I was really hoping.
What took you so long?
Well, if it isn't Red, long time no see.
I should probably do my gushing for a little bit. I like Red a lot. I wish they used him more.
We've still been reduced to this.
Well, that explains it. And where is this professor now?
Like always, I have no idea. Probably closer than we think.
Gotcha. I'll be on my guard.
Well, I know you didn't come here just to talk. Shall we get things started?
Red clearly also doesn't really want to fight that much.
Warning!
Luckily, this isn't too difficult. I'm literally just going to keep shooting him. This fight with Zero is annoying, but with Axel and X, the 2 ranged characters, not nearly as bad. Of course, Red is level 5, so he's got a much higher health bar than we've seen previously. But I mean, hey, we're an SA Hunter and a GA Hunter, so I think we're I think we're about evenly matched. This is also the part of the game where I like Rookie Hunter mode quite a bit. Because this is a bottomless pit down there, and you can die at any time. If you're fighting this for the first time, though, since you won't have X fully upgraded with health or anything, this fight becomes a little bit of a hassle.
This is almost as bad as that fight from X6 that you hate.
The thing is, I like this fight, though.
This one's at least balanced out with its platforming.
Yeah. Like, yeah, you can be knocked into the pit, but the fight's so fun to just keep dodging Red and looking for... avoiding his little doubles and stuff. It's... There's stuff to like here. You just gotta stay on your toes. It really does... It's as close as the game gets to a Legends battle. And with the way the platforms are positioned, since there's not like a ceiling or anything that blocks you from being able to go over platforms, the fight feels relatively fair. And with Rookie Hunter mode, it just makes this fight a non-issue, but that's why I fight him Buster only, because with his weakness, yeah, it chips away at him, but it's more fun to do it like this. At least I have more fun. Alright. He can go all the way out there, though, to where the cutscene was. Which is a little annoying. But, not too bad.
You've really grown up, Axel. You hear that? This place is done for.
I love his voice. It's just so smooth and nice. It fits the character. And the design is just... Between Red and Axel, I like both their designs, but Red's got the better voice.
Red, you're coming with us. Come on, you can still make it.
Stop it. Hurry up or we'll be buried here too.
Axel, he's right. It's my time. Let me go first. You're still young. No need to rush.
You really feel for the kid. Okay. So, that answers my question. We're gonna hop right back on in there. Sorry about that. I'm gonna have to fight Red again. I have to end the poll. 0-1 with 42% of the vote, and X and Axel tied for second and third. So from the Red fight, it jumps immediately into the final Sigma stage. So we're gonna have to reload our save. Luckily, we saved right after the mole fight, so. People want 0, so I will happily give them 0, even though I... We'll do 0 and X for the ending, then. Like I said, it's all mostly the same ending. Because Axel wants to continue being a hunter, X doesn't want to let him. 0 is indifferent to it all, and it's just like, X, just join the fight. Like I said, no game is perfect. Even though X8 definitely tries to fix every problem X7 had. And then some. Even if it causes a few of its own. It tries to do something good. I really can't wait to get the Zero ZX games, but I am hoping that by the time we're done with all of this, we can... I'm not going to jump immediately from Zero and ZX to Legends, though. I think I might take a short break, play some Sonic stuff in between, because I still haven't tried the Frontiers DLC.
So, what took you so long?
But yes, you have to redo the red fight if you quit out there.
Long time no see.
We've advanced, thanks to the professor. But we've still been reduced to this.
Well, that explains it. And where is this professor now?
Oh.
I have no idea. Probably close.
Gotcha. I'll be on my guard.
Well, I know you didn't come here just to talk.
I have nothing to really say about this. I've already been through it once, so... If anybody has anything to talk about, now is the time.
Toast.
Toast. Go home, little robot. Play with your toaster.
No.
I thought we were fighting the Zero.
What? No, we're getting the Zero ending.
Oh.
I had to quit to reselect my character. Because this stage, I forgot that this doesn't have a distinction between Sigma Palace 2, Red Palace 2 to Sigma Palace 3. So, it goes from this to a stage to boss refights to Sigma. Luckily, it's not too bad. So, X Command Mission actually takes the cell shading of the models and makes the whole game cell shaded in such a way that it works really, really well. Even and even updates the model beyond that to make X look a little less plain, to say the least. So I'm sorry I have to make you guys watch the same cutscene twice, but hey, at least
this fight in 30 FPS does not do it justice.
no, it's super smooth in 60.
I feel bad that I had to watch it in 30.
I have 1080p 60 streaming.
No, it was my thing. Because it keeps going behind because I can't have it too high.
Ah, okay. Yeah, I stream in 1080p 60, and all of my assets are made for 4K, so... I future-proofed all my stuff, so that way then I could, you know, be better prepared for the future.
Axel, he's right. It's my time. Let me go.
In fact, my most recent sticker I drew in 4K.
No need to rush.
Alright, now it's time to continue.
Ready?
Unless you guys really want me to do it a third time.
Yeah, let's do it a third. No, I'm kidding.
Here we have an alternate path, left or right. I'm gonna go ahead and go right, because I normally don't go right. It's not a maze, it's just different challenges.
Ready?
This one here has the one of the right armors. And all you gotta do is just sit back and shoot. Yep, so engrossing, so emerging. I do feel bad for the folks that couldn't, who were hoping that I'd be a den for I feel really bad about that, but not a whole lot I can do. I wanted to make the part 2 video too for that one from last year, so that way then we could have a full discussion about it again, but hey, it's alright. With all the targets gone, we can hop out with L2 and go straight for the portal. So this right here is kind of the conclusion, the natural evolution of the DNA souls from Extreme 2.
Ready?
Collecting enough of them were enough to make next generation Reploids like Axel even possible. Oh yeah, here's like mini versions of Velgurder from the first game. We have one that shoots fire and two that shoots ice.
Even though Velgurder did both.
Did both, but for a standard enemy, not a bad choice. Not a bad way to do it.
It's not.
If you think that this game isn't up to par and are worried that Legends is worse, I can guarantee you right now, Legends plays nothing like this. It has a completely different structure. It's more like a Zelda title. It's one of those things where if Nintendo and Capcom put their team and the Zelda team had to work on a Mega Man Legends 3, I'd be content with it. I think they'd do a perfectly fine job.
Yeah, I don't blame you on that one.
Alright. I believe we have made it to the graveyard.
Ready?
X8 loves its the X series loves religious symbolism, and here is one of the most overt symbolisms. So, first off, here's all the DNA souls. Every single one of the Reploids that we have destroyed. Just kind of swirling in a vortex, almost like a DNA helix. And each of these sections for the boss refights are gravestones. So this is another part of the game where I'm going to let you guys pick. So Casey, are we starting the left or right side?
Up, down. Sorry, right.
We're starting on the right side. All right. Number one is
sorry,
so.
Up, down is still the funniest thing to me.
We have the top one is number 1. The one on the left is number 2. 3 is number on the right, and 4 is on the bottom.
3.
Cool.
I thought we weren't doing a number system.
I said I wasn't going to until it became easier to do so.
Oh, okay.
So 1, 2, or 3, chat. 1's top, 2 middle, and 3 is bottom. Place your votes in. Place your bets. All the bosses have been powered up to level 4, just like they did in X5 and 6, where they got powered up to the maximum they can be. Luckily, this isn't too much of a fight. Oh, so Casey, now that you've seen pretty much all the bosses and whatnot, who's your favorite?
Is that even a question?
It's Vanishing Gungaroo, isn't it?
Yeah.
Who's your favorite to fight, though? To watch me fight?
This one.
Really?
Yeah. I think he's got a really interesting fight. Actually, you know what? No. Red. I believe that's his name?
Red, that fight that we did earlier, that was Red.
Yeah, that was freaking awesome. It's a tie between red and this.
Well, I've got one more fight for this game that I think is my favorite, personally. My favorite fight is the first phase of Sigma in this game. It's just really well designed, and I really like it. And the music, the song that plays is called Our Blood Boils, and it's so good. I played it for the opening for today, because it's just... It's one of those X tracks where it's like, I'd have this on a normal playlist if I could. So, chat, top, middle, bottom. Chat's not saying anything. Oh boy.
Bottom.
Alright, well then... chat said top. Top will be next then. Here I get to show off Soldier Stone Kong. He is, again, this fight's super easy with X. Since you can just get rid of his sword, like, right off the bat. I actually don't know what his weakness is. It does pretty good amount of damage. I dodged it.
Nice.
He said try to dodge it. I dodged it. Maybe the fire? So if you do a dash jump, you actually can't be hit with... you can't be knocked down from stuff, so basically just if you air dash into something to tank the hit, it'll be good. Alright. X is gonna get caught here for a second. You guys don't have to be quiet for this. It's, these fights are all rather simple, so I'm not...
That's fair.
This is an X game where I don't have to focus as much as everything else. Like, X6 and... X5 and 6 required some quiet time. This doesn't, and neither does X8. Like, this doesn't feel as hard or as focus-intensive as other X games do. Like, X3 feels more intense than this. X1 feels more intense than this.
That's fair.
Like, even with Rookie Hunter mode off, it just does not require much of my brain power to play this. It's like those moments where you just see me look away from the screen and I'm still doing, like, perfectly well against a boss. Like, it just doesn't require me to think much. No thoughts, head empty, only X. Alright. You can actually move the camera in that section. All you gotta do is hold the analog stick while the boss is exploding. Okay. believe we've only got the middle one there. You might have also noticed that I only picked up one of the energy sub-tanks. I didn't pick up the other one. It just... too easy. Oh, Casey, you think you could read chat out for a little bit? Looks like we finally got some discussion
I
going.
won't lie, the only X made me think only shipping. How? What?
I'm a bit confused by that too, but okay. You want to clarify a little bit? Sort of stop to ride Dvorsky here. Alrighty. Nice and easy peasy for that. Alright. Next up, we've got... We will label this one over here as top, this one as middle, this one down here as bottom, and that one over there as left. So top, middle, bottom, left. Anyone can pick.
Middle.
Alright. Casey, it looks like we got some clarification.
Have you ever seen, say, Hannibal X Royal to denote shipping? Don't judge, that's my only example off the top of my head.
I still have no idea what you're talking about. I'm gonna be honest.
When I hear Hannibal, I think of Hannibal Lecter from, Silence of the Lambs. I'm not exactly sure what they're talking about.
I'm not either. Speaking of confusing stuff that I get to do later, I'm working on a bodysuit later this week. I'm just waiting on the fur to show up. Casey, will we also be making you a bodysuit for your Dutch Angel Dragon?
Eventually.
You're not worried about working on... You don't want to do it right away, or...?
I don't want to... Well, listen. We're already working on my head. And then, like, money's kind of tight already enough as it is.
Yeah, but we also... For as tight as everything is, it's gonna be cooling down a lot. Because since I don't have to do Denver, that puts us ahead about $500.
That's fair. So yeah, maybe we might.
Like, we can get the hotel for MFF in a couple days and be fine. Like, we're doing that middle of the month, I believe. Avoid their little dash thing. I'm gonna stand here and shoot him. As you can see, we slide backwards on this thing a lot. Even while standing. Play by nerd's done. So top, middle, bottom.
Somebody said left-handed, so maybe the left. One on the far left. So I guess the bottom one.
Oh, they're talking about shipping, like two characters shipping.
Yeah.
So they think that every time I say X, as in the character, they think I'm talking about shipping two characters together.
Yeah.
I see.
Like XX0?
Yeah, I was about to say. That's a little goofy. Which one did you say, Case? Top, middle, bottom?
No, I'm reading the one that Empathetic Apathy said.
I know,
this
I
is
know.
Left, so left, I assume.
Left. Left, left. Top or bottom, Casey? No, I'm not asking your position in the bedroom. I'm asking which stage.
No, I said that's a tough one. I didn't mean. Gavin, shut. Top.
Gotcha.
You are a very cheeky cat today.
I am on something today, I suppose.
It's really kind of funny to have Mario RPG in the background playing music while watching these costumes.
I'm sure it's a very interesting experience, for sure. That's for sure.
I'm in Toad Town, so it's like very carnival-like, the song.
Gotcha. So the thing about beating Sigma with Zero is that Sigma's final form in this game is very tough. You said top, right?
I did say top.
Okay. Chat has said a few more things. It's like empathetic.
Boop the Gavin to reset his cheekiness.
A boop.
Yeah. I suppose that can work. But only if you're lucky. Just gonna throw every weapon at him. He walked into a rock and destroyed his right armor. What a child. So here's his weakness. And that's why I don't use his weakness, because it's not a great attack. You do more damage by just charge shots with X. Oh, Vanishing Gungaroo. Please stop hopping around.
Quit treating me like a kid.
Quit acting like a kid. Look, he's throwing a fit. He's getting huffy. He's gonna go get grounded.
I'm sorry, it's really sad that you're just like completely. Did he just Shuriken?
Yes, he did. Yes.
Okay, he's not a kid. He's an adult. Stop it. Stop treating him like.
I mean, he uses the triangle kick, which is, I believe in Japan, it's supposed to be the dive kick that Vega has.
Yeah, it is.
So.
Who's Vega?
Street Fighter.
Yeah, I know. Who's Vega?
Claw.
Gotcha.
Sorry. I gotta put it in fighting game terms. The one that climbs the wall. Which one?
This one, the one that eats porridge.
Empathetic Apathy asks why the boss moans in all caps. The answer is because in Japan, these bosses did not have voice lines to them. They had voices before the fight, but not during it. And when the localization team decided, let's have the bosses talk. That'd be cool. We could have more lines of dialogue. It'd be better than it would have something one up on the Japanese version. Cool. Let's tie them to the animations. Not cool. So sometimes animations last a bit longer than the voice clip. So for that moan there, it's not supposed to last that long, but it does. Because somebody was incompetent at their job and didn't realize the logistical problems that come with making every boss talk all the time. It's okay. When Crowrang's dead and we're on to the next part. I'm starting to get a bit tired, but we're at the end of the game, so...
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I think I can beat Sigma in less than 20 minutes. I think we'll be good.
Up to you.
So we'll do this first part probably with X, and then the second part with 0.
All right, we know you're in there, so come on out, Professor.
Thanks for coming by, fellas. This way I can face you in the comfort of my own home. I guess this means you've already defeated all the worthless others.
So,
Sigma's
it was
voice
you
here,
after
Truman
all.
was cracking up at it, but I think it's menacing enough.
Do you? Even when we break you down to scraps,
I think
you
I just
always
found one of
come
my
back.
favorite lines from Super Mario RPG.
That's
I'm sorry
right,
I'm saying
folks.
things that have
I'll
nothing
do
to
it
do with this.
again and again.
Of course.
I will make X and 0 mine. Now come and get me. Give me a good
That's
fight,
right, folks. I'll
like
do it
you
again.
always do.
Alright. So, here's the fight. It's a 2D fight. There's not many of these in the game. He has slightly more health than before. He's got a whole meter plus a little bit. And it's not too hard to just shred his health. But if you're fighting as X, it's a fun fight. Because you just kind of hobble around. It's got a fun boss room. Sometimes he'll warp all over the place if you're just shooting him constantly. He'll pick a different strategy. Oh, there he goes. Then he picks up this big old laser. You gotta duck down here and just start shooting him. All the while, the song Our Blood Boils plays, and oh my god. If you haven't heard Our Blood Boils before, look it up, because it is a masterclass in metal. It's so good. And the track that plays right before Sigma shows up has the same riff as the song Shout It to the Devil. So it's like they knew what they were doing. And the idea that Sigma is turning the rest of the world into Sigma Mavericks by making them next generation Reploids, and the song being called Our Blood Boils, it adds the feeling. And of course, once they finish him up, we got phase 2 of the fight. This is the hardest part of the fight. This is your safe point. This is the safest point in the stage. Just stay up here on this platform and shoot him down. The end. As he would say in X4, right? Got that laser move from the belt. And once you get him down enough, he starts doing that swirly attack. And as you shoot him, eventually, he does this and loses his mask. So... But as long as I land the final hit with 0, we will get 0's ending. So... I think after the next couple hits, I'm going to swap. Luckily, thanks to 0's double jump and the saber, it's not too bad. That punching attack is your best bet to hit Sigma. But you don't want to be hit with it or else you'll fall, so... Do keep your distance. You have the D-glaive, some short stabby weapons, and the sword. This is the first game to experiment with 0 having new weapons other than the Z-Saber. The only other game to do this is going to be the 0 games themselves, and it's done really well there. Not as well here, but X8 does it wonderfully, to the point where I will praise that game wholeheartedly. Also, thanks to the Rookie Hunter mode, if I really wanted to, I could take the fight to Sigma and do some air slashes in his face. Which I think is what we're gonna do. Without fear of restarting. If you do die here, you do restart on this phase of the fight, so it's not a big deal. But just like that, X7 is done in 2 hours, 47 minutes, and 53 seconds. That ain't bad at all. That's a really good time.
That is a pretty good time. Let me guess. My preview is behind. Yup.
Probably. This cutscene is one of my favorites. We've got Sigma in this desecrated body from the previous fight. Because he couldn't withstand the big body. And it's the zombie body! It's... This is the one that he's been using. And he's so hyped for it. But because Sigma's gullible,
I found you, Zero and X.
he thinks Red's still alive. And just when you think that you're gonna have another fight,
With this power, I'll never lose.
it turns out to be Axel. Just clocks him in the back of the head and sends Sigma flying down to his death. Oh, how lovely.
Axel, wake up.
I think that's the most deadliest asset in an assassin.
Pretty cool,
Yep.
eh? You've got to give me some credit.
And to have that function on a Maverick Hunter is so cool.
I mean, just think about it. We need another game.
We do.
Because I feel like 2 is not enough for Axel.
We have 3 with Axel, technically.
Where am
Because we have command mission.
Oh yeah, I forgot about command mission. I'm sorry.
But he's not really the lead focus.
I know, but you know what I mean. Like, where he's the lead focus in part of it.
So,
Eliminate the Mavericks. The Mavericks. Eliminate.
Zero gets this weird vision.
What happened, Axel?
Another weird dream from Zero.
Just a dream.
Zero.
And that was meant to be foreshadowing to
Zero.
Mega Man Zero.
Located the runaway Maverick Grogs at point F5113. I want you to head there immediately.
I hear you, Alia. I must have fallen asleep. I'm on my way.
So we'll see more about that.
Really just a dream.
Oh, don't worry, Zero. It wasn't a dream, but that wasn't X. So thankfully, because of the Legacy Collections updates, I don't have to worry about getting copyright claimed here for any pop music. But
Yay, copyright.
that was X7. It is a flawed 3D title that I still enjoy playing because of its length. And I don't know, it's goofy, but I have fun with this. Casey, what did you think?
I liked it a lot.
If chat has any closing thoughts, they can hop on in here too, because we've only got a little bit left. Remember, tomorrow is going to be X8, and then we have Maverick Hunter X on Thursday, so that'll be our schedule going forward. We're going to have it at about the same time we had this game as well. I'm still getting back into the groove of things. Later this evening I have editing to get done, so of course I do. But yeah, if you want to pick this game up, the MegaManX Legacy Collection 2 has this, and you can get the Legacy Collection 1, 2, Mega Man 11, and both of the standard Legacy Collections, and ZX, I believe, all for $60. So. But X and Axel's endings are essentially, Axel wants to go out, X doesn't, and then X is being told, no, X, you really should continue the fight, so. And X does. So, certainly not the greatest X game, but I think it's better than what some people give it credit for. And the RE2 team would continue to develop these games. They went on to make MegaManX 8 and Maverick Hunter X as well. So they definitely knew what they were doing. Keiji Inafune did not have much to do with this game. He only designed Red and Axel, and that's it. And really, he was only consulting with Axel and Red, so he wasn't even the lead designer for the characters. So, yeah. And going into X8, you can tell that Inafune had very little to do going forward, because the art style totally shifts for the next game. And in a good way, too. I think it really is a good way to do it. So, with all that being said, let's get to the outro, shall we?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sorry, we have a menu where we have to save. This might be the last time I play X7 for a good long while. Just in general. I am starting to get a bit tired of these games, but it's not a bad thing. Alrighty. Well, guys, thank you so much for watching and joining me today. I have been your humble host, Gavin the Kitty, and if you enjoyed the video, please subscribe, share the video with a friend, and you can follow me on Twitter at GavinDragonYT, and you can donate to the PayPal link on your screen and in the description below, although that might be going away sometime soon, whenever we get the full channel membership stuff. There will be stuff to click on afterwards, and that's all for me. I've been your humble host. Good night, everybody.